Hey there, welcome everybody to another edition of TXN Sports World. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. Maybe awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. We'll wait and see if he'll be joining us or not. If he does, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. Before we start tonight, I want to take a moment to send a special shout out to our dear friend Mike Keenan. Mike Keenan is currently in the hospital right now, and his brother Brian asked us to send a special shout out to him, and that's exactly what we're going to do because he is a very close friend of ours and an avid supporter of our show, and well, all of our shows, honestly. But Mike, I hear he's doing better, and his brother Brian posted on Facebook that he's doing better. He's still in the hospital, and we're hopeful that he'll be out of there within the next few days or so. And Mike, we love you. We're thinking of you, and we hope to have you back with us very soon. And keep doing what you're doing, brother. We love you, man. We're thinking of you.
Yeah,
MF.
absolutely. I haven't been able to get in touch with the Keenans or anybody because due to work commitments beyond my control. However, this was did Anthony did notify me about this, and obviously, absolutely, I said yes, Pat, more than good enough to pass this along. We are thinking about you, Mike, and the whole Keenan family. We're thinking about you guys right now. We're praying for you guys for a speedy recovery. And as of right now, everything's looking good. Obviously, obviously, I know Anthony will monitor the situation, and if there's any updates, we might be able to update you tomorrow night on a Cerebral Smack Talk. But yeah, absolutely, we're thinking about you guys, and we love you. We miss you guys, and hope to see you guys very soon. So, Anthony, well said, and let's just move on.
Amen to that. And next week, matter of fact, next week we have a gentleman's gathering scheduled for next week. So, well, Brian said he would be there. We'll see if Mike will be there. We're hopeful that he is. And so tonight we are going to dedicate this show to our dear friend Mike Keenan as well as the entire Keenan family. And we thank you for your love and your support of our shows. I mean, they watch our show religiously, and we are very grateful to them for their support, especially over the last year or so. They always I talk to Brian all the time, and he always tells me that he always compliments us on our shows, and so this one's for you guys. So, all right, so with all that being said, let's dive on in. We don't have much tonight. We have a small docket here tonight, but we are going to address some key points here tonight. And the first one is, of course, the women's and men's NCAA tournaments. National champions have been crowned on both sides, and we are going to start with the women's championship. That tournament wrapped up this past Sunday afternoon at the Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida, the home of the NHL's Tampa Bay Lightning. And stop me if this sounds familiar. The Yukon Lady Huskies are once again national champions. That's right. The GOAT, Gino Auriemma. He does it again. 12th national championship. Absolutely impressive. And as MF and Gorilla Monsoon would always say, they did it in grand style. And man, oh man, absolute dominance throughout this entire tournament. They were the number 2 seed in the Spokane regional, which was regional number 4. And here's how they did it. In the first round, they went up against the 15 seed Arkansas State, and they absolutely smashed them. 103-34 in the first round. 103-34. Oof. And then I'll tell you this, every single game, they were not tested once. They won every single game by double digits. Sounds a lot like what the men did the previous 2 years in the men's tournament. 103-34 over 15 seed Arkansas State. The second round, they went up against the number 10 seed South Dakota State, smashed them 91-57. And then they went to the regional the regionals in Spokane, Washington. They went up against the number 3 seed Oklahoma Sooners, and they smashed them 82-59. And then in the regional final, went up against the number 1 seed USC Trojans, and they defeated USC by a final score of 78-64. And then in the Final Four, they went up against the Region 1 champion, and that was believe it or not, this team was actually the number 1 overall seed in this women's tournament. The UCLA Bruins, if you can imagine that. They were the number 1 overall seed, and they absolutely smashed them by a score of 85-51. And then in the final, in the championship game, they went up against the reigning and defending national champions from last year, the South Carolina Gamecocks. They were a 1 seed in the Birmingham Regional, the Regional 2. And in that championship game, they absolutely smashed South Carolina 82-59. And the UConn Huskies are once again national champions, and led by their big 3, Paige Beckers, Sarah Strong, and most outstanding player of this tournament, Azzi Fudd. 2 players tied with 24 points apiece. Sarah Strong had 15 rebounds and also had 5 assists in that championship game win. So the UConn Huskies, once again, national champions in the women's NCAA tournament. This is their 12th national championship. 12th championship in their 13th title game appearance, 24th Final Four appearance. And Gino Auriemma, win or lose, he was still going to be the GOAT. I mean, he's always going to be the GOAT. No one is going to touch 12 national championships. The only one who I believe could give it a run would be the woman that he went up against, Dawn Staley, who I consider the best coach of today, of the modern era, today in today's women's tournament and women's college basketball, with the outstanding work she has done with the South Carolina Gamecocks. Won the national championship last year, defeating Caitlin Clark in Iowa in what was a very highly rated and anticipated championship game a year ago. But unfortunately, this one was not as exciting as we figured it would be. But just absolute dominance by the UConn Lady Huskies and a well-deserved national championship. And it's hard to believe that this is their first national championship in 9 years. You believe that? 9 years. Just absolutely blows my mind that this team hasn't won before this year has not won a national championship since 2016. They won it. 12 national championships, winning them in 1995, 2000, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2009, 2010, and then they went on to win 4 consecutive national championships: 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, and now 2025. Gino Auriemma has been the UConn women's coach since 1985, and he is among the most successful coaches, not just in women's hoops, but in the history of college basketball. 1,231 wins, an overall record of 1,231 wins and only 164 losses. That's a percentage of 880. And as of January of this year, represents the highest winning percentage among NCAA basketball coaches with a minimum of 10 seasons, any level, men's or women's. And led by the best player in the game today, and that is Paige Beckers. And she's now on her way to the WNBA. I look forward to seeing where she ends up. And I honestly don't know how to round out my Mount Rushmore of women's college basketball coaches, but if you're going to do a Mount Rushmore of women's college basketball coaches, Gino Auriemma is the first name. Should automatically be the first name on that list. I easily have a top three. Number one is Gino Auriemma. Number two is the late, great Pat Summitt. And number three is the great Tara Vanderveer with the outstanding work that she did at Stanford. The fourth spot, it's between two for me. That's Dawn Staley and Kim Mulkey. Kim Mulkey with what she's done at Baylor and at LSU also. But
I could make an argument for Muffet McGraw from Notre Dame as well.
Oh, that's right.
I think she definitely, like Anthony, you're absolutely right. I think the top three is definite. Like Gio Auriemma, Pat Summitt, there's no debate. They're in there. There's no debate with them. 3 and 4, if you really know your basketball knowledge, your women's basketball knowledge, there's an argument that you could say Muffet McGraw deserves to be there. You could say Dawn Staley, even though Dawn Staley is still getting up there. Yes, you could say Kim Mulkey. I think her name definitely needs to be in the conversation as well. And there's probably some other names that we're not mentioning that which could probably be in that upper echelon that could be the greatest women's
Tara
basketball
Vanderveer.
coaches. Tara Vanderveer, yes, definitely should be in there as well.
What she did at Stanford can absolutely not be ignored. I mean, leading them to 3 national championships and 1,200 wins of her own. So she rounds out the top 3. Summitt's right there, Auriemma, of course, and let the debate for that last spot. I mean, McGraw, 2-time national champion, over 800 wins in at what she did with Notre Dame, and Mulkey and Dawn Staley. But that's a debate for another day. But nonetheless, congratulations to Gino Auriemma and the UConn Lady Huskies for their 12th national championship. And it still boggles my mind that it's been 9 years since they last won it. That was when they wrapped up the 4-peat, when they won the 4 straight titles. But just amazing. And now we move on to the men's NCAA tournament. And we have a national champion. And that national champion, for the first time since 2007, and the third time in school history, the Florida Gators are your national champions. They were the 4th number 1 seed. They came out of the West region, and they started off with a smashing of the number 16 seed Norfolk State. Smashed them 95-67, or 95-69 rather. MF, you should know, you saw a lot of Florida during this tournament. That was in Raleigh, North Carolina. And speaking of UConn, hey, Florida and UConn actually met up in one of the best games of this tournament. Even though there was a little controversy towards the end, but the Florida Gators held off the previously back-to-back national champion UConn Huskies 77-75 in Raleigh. And then they went to the West Regionals in San Francisco, California. They went up against the number 4 seed Maryland Terrapins, and they defeated them 87-71. And then an absolute dogfight with the number 3 seed Texas Tech Red Raiders in the regional final. Came back from 10 points. They came back from a big deficit to win that game, 84-79. to advance to the Final Four for the first time since 2014. And led by their star player, Walter Clayton Jr., who had 30 points in that regional final to go with 4 assists. And then in the Final Four, they squared off against the number one, and for the first time since 2008, all 4 number 1 seeds. Matter of fact, how is this for irony? On the same exact days that we saw this back in 2008. Back then, I believe, I remember it was the Memphis Tigers, there was the North Carolina Tar Heels, the UCLA Bruins, and the Kansas Jayhawks. Those were the 4 number 1 seeds that made it to the Final Four in 2008. Same building, San Antonio's Alamo Dome. And then we also had, and go figure, 17 years later, MF, we got all 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four in the same building on the same exact dates in 2008.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I will say this, you could even make an argument that this was probably the greatest Final Four we've ever had, because both games, down to the wire, exciting endings. And I don't even know how the hell I was able to keep up with both nights, man. I was exhausted when that night was over. My voice was hoarse. And I had another game on Monday night, too.
Oh man. Yes. I mean, hey, we don't call you Screaming Michael Fletcher for nothing, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, go back and watch those games and you'll know exactly why we call him Screaming Michael Fletcher. And oh man. And here's why. In that first game in the Final Four, it was the Florida Gators, the number 4 overall seed, squaring off against the number 1 overall seed and their fellow SEC rivals, the Auburn Tigers. And they defeated the Auburn Tigers by a final score of 79-73. 34 points for Walter Clayton Jr. Incredible game. Auburn had them down, but Florida found a way to win. So they advanced to the championship game, and they squared off against the number 3 overall seed out of the Midwest region, the Houston Cougars. And Houston got there. Houston gets to the title game by completing an absolutely remarkable comeback against MF and his Duke Blue Devils. MF, I got to tell you, my heart ached for you. And it also ached for Brian Keenan, too, because Brian is also a Duke fan like you. I mean, maybe not as much of a diehard fan as MF is. I mean, Brian's heart is with the PC Friars. That I do know. But he did tell me that he is a big Duke Blue Devil fan. But MF, we all know how much MF loves his Duke Blue Devils. And we thought they had that game well in hand. They had a 14-point lead with quite a bit of time left. But the Houston Cougars closes out the game on a 25-8 run to shock and stun Duke 70-67 to advance to their first national championship game since the days of Phi Slamma Jamma. Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler. First time they did that since all the way back in 1984. When they made it to back-to-back title games, 1983 and 1984. Of course, 83, they lost to NC State on that buzzer beater and Jimmy V. And then in 1984, they ran into Patrick Ewing in Georgetown. So, yeah, they lost to Georgetown. I believe it was 84-75 in that championship game in 84. But at the end of the day, it was the Florida Gators. And then Houston was on. And then Monday night, we had the championship game. The Florida Gators versus the Houston Cougars from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Houston had a double-digit lead of their own with about 15 or so minutes to go in that championship game. And the Florida Gators went ahead and did to Houston what Houston did to Duke And the Florida Gators defeat the Houston Cougars by a final score of 65-63. 18 points and 8 rebounds from Will Richard. He was the big player in that game. And the Final Four all-tournament team, Walter Clayton Jr. of the Florida Gators was voted the most outstanding player in this tournament, and rightfully so. Will Richard, also from Florida, was on that team. 2 Houston Cougars made that Final Four all-tournament team. L.J. Cryer and Jawan Roberts. And rounding out the Final Four all-tournament team, the National Player of the Year, MF's boy, Cooper Flagg from the Duke Blue Devils. He rounds out the all-tournament team for the Final Four. And for the third time in school history, first time since their back-to-back titles in 2006 and 2007, the Florida Gators are once again national champions, led by Todd Golden, second youngest coach to win a tournament, to win the national championship. He's only 39 years old. And he became the youngest head coach to win a national championship since the late, great Jim Valvano, when he led the North Carolina State Wolfpack to that Cinderella national championship over Houston in 1983. Jimmy V was only 34 years old at that time. He's still the youngest to ever do it. But nonetheless, congratulations to the Florida Gators. A lot of the experts got it right. A lot of the experts that we watched on like the Bracketology on ESPN and CBS and all these other great outlets. I mean, so many. A few of these experts had the Florida Gators winning it all, and they ended up looking like geniuses. Myself, MF, and Michael Bullock, we all had Duke winning the national championship this year, but that was not to be. But I went on to win our TXN Sports World Bracket Manager, 95 points. Michael Bullock had 94 points, and MF finished with 85 points. But, you know, it's always fun when we can do the Bracket Manager on CBSSports.com. I mean, it's right up there with the Pigskin Pick'em that we do during the NFL for ESPN during football season, and we will most certainly be doing that again next football season, of course. But regardless, Florida deserves it. I mean, they worked very hard for it. Came back from big deficits in the regional final against Auburn, in the regional final against Texas Tech. Came back from down big against Auburn, and then came back from down big against Houston to win this national championship. First one in 18 years since the days of Joakim Noah and Al Horford and the great Billy Donovan, who took them there. But before I give it to MF, I do want to give a special congratulations to Houston. I mean, there was a part of me that wanted to see Houston win this national championship for 2 reasons. Phi Slamma Jamma, of course, Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler. But it was especially for one man who actually went to the University of Houston and graduated from there in 1981. And that was, of course, one of my all-time sports broadcasting heroes and a man that I have looked up to for many years. The voice of the NFL on CBS. That, of course, is Mr. Hello Friends, and that being Jim Nantz. And I really wanted to see them win that national championship for him, give him a special moment after all he has given us in his over 40-year sports broadcasting career. But it was not meant to be for the Houston Cougars. And Kelvin Sampson and those boys, they should not be ashamed of themselves. They have nothing to hang their heads about. And I have no doubt in my mind, I believe if they keep these core guys together, I would not be surprised if Houston makes another title run next year. So, but for right now, it's the Florida Gators, and only fitting that the SEC that an SEC team won the national championship, because this year the SEC put out a record 14 teams from the SEC made the NCAA tournament this year. And how fitting was it that one of those SEC teams went on to win the whole thing? So congratulations to the Florida Gators for the men's championship. and also to the UConn Lady Huskies and Gino Auriemma for winning the women's championship. So well done. Congratulations to both winners. So not much more for me to add on. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. Great tournaments on both sides. UConn winning the women's tournament for the 12th time, first in 9 years. And then in the men's tournament, the Florida Gators. Chomp, chomp. First national championship in 18 years, their third overall. Fantastic tournament. And of course, MF, you did an outstanding job once again, and as the voice of March Madness. And it wouldn't be March Madness without you. And you absolutely killed it, especially in the Final Four, all 3 games. And I gotta admit, it was one of the best Final Fours that I've seen in at least 3 years. I mean, the last year and the year before, it was all about UConn. UConn just dominated. But this time around, all 3 games down to the wire. We haven't seen that since 2022, when especially that North Carolina Duke game in 22. But and to put it to rest, I sent it in our TXN Sports World News and Views Messenger chat some time ago. The national championship game delivers 18.1 million viewers to cap off the most watched Final Four weekend since 2017. Monday's championship game averaged 18.1 million viewers on CBS, up 22%, and the most watched championship game since 2019. Florida and Houston peaked with 21.1 million viewers for the game's conclusion. Final Four weekend averaged 16.4 million viewers for the 3 games, up 21% and the best in 8 years. And tournament viewership across TBS, CBS, TNT, and True TV averaged 10.2 million viewers, up 3%. And as the voice of March Madness, hearing those numbers, MF, that's got to make you very happy. I know it does me.
You know what? I have to say, just to see the tournament, how it played out. And the thing was, there were more competitive matchups because I hate to say it, the Cinderellas did not show up. This was a very chalk-laden tournament. And I know a lot of people are yelling NIL. A lot of people are saying transfer portal. There's a lot of arguments about why the tournament was so chalk-heavy. But if you really think about it, the only time that you want the upsets is very early on. You want it in the first round, maybe the second round you want an upset. But then once you get into the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, Final Four, that's when you want the best of the best to be there at the end. I don't know what it is. There's a formula about it. There's just this weird obsession about the March Madness. But once we got to the Final Four, where it was all number ones, it was straight chalk. But then you saw the matchups and you saw how the games played out. Without a doubt, this committee, this NCAA Division I committee needs to be commended, because for all the crap that we threw at them on Selection Sunday, and trust me, there was a lot of crap we threw at them for a lot of reasons. They can sit high on their horse and say, you see, you had to just trust us. You guys were complaining about all this stuff, and look what you got. Probably the greatest tournament you've ever seen. You're welcome. NCAA committee, look. Normally myself, Anthony Floyer, and Michael Bullock doesn't really do this, but we're going to give you your flowers on this one. This was an excellent tournament. You bridged the gap really well, putting the teams in certain cities. They gave us compelling matchups, which was really good. I mean, it didn't matter where you were, from Providence to Raleigh to Seattle to all the first-round matchups. Then you go into the regionals where Newark had a really good matchup. Indianapolis had a good matchup. Throughout the entire tournament, up to San Antonio, this was an excellent tournament from beginning to end, and I got nothing bad to say about it. Florida deserving of the national championship. They won it. No doubt about it. Well done. And to Houston, tremendous performance. Nothing more to say. I know a lot of people were crushing them on Monday night after they lost, but without a doubt, given hindsight 2020, they did an incredible performance. This was a great season for them. They got nothing to hang their hats on, and I can't wait to do this all over again next season when we start this in November. The road to the Final Four again. So I can't wait. So, yeah, without a doubt, Anthony, let's move on.
Yes, and I just want to check something real quick, and now we look forward to next year's Final Four, and that will be held at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. So that's where we will have the Final Four and the national championship. Matter of fact, I actually have the locations for everything. So next year in the tournament, March 19th, March 17th and 18th, the first 4 games at the University of Dayton, in Dayton, Ohio, per the usual. And for first and second round games, they will be on March 19th and 21st of next year. On those days, it'll be at the KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York, the Bon Secours Wellness Arena, Greenville, South Carolina, the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and the Moda Center in Portland, Oregon. March 20 and 22, the games will take place at Amalie Arena, Tampa, Florida, the Wells Fargo Center, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Viejas Arena in San Diego, California, and the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. For the regionals, South Regional next year, March 26 and March 28, South Regional at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. The West Regional will be at the SAP Center, San Jose, California. And then the Midwest and East Regionals, March 27th and 29th of next year. Midwest Regional, from the Madhouse on Madison, the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. And the East Regional will emanate from the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. And then, as I mentioned before, the Final Four and the National Championship, Lucas Oil Stadium, Indianapolis, Indiana, April 4th and April 6th of next year. And Indianapolis will host the Final Four for the 9th time in history. Their last one, of course, during the COVID tournament in 2021. Michael Bullock has just joined us. So Bullock, we didn't get into too much. I mean, we only did a recap of the women's and men's NCAA tournaments. The UConn Lady Huskies winning the women's national championship, and the Florida Gators winning the men's national championship. So Michael Bullock, your thoughts on the men's and women's NCAA tournaments this year and the champions, the Florida Gators for the men and the UConn Lady Huskies for the women.
Well, what can you say about the UConn Huskies? I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of people that thought it was going to be a repeat for Dawn Staley and the South Carolina Gamecocks, but Gino Auriemma has done it again. I mean, another national championship to his legendary resume, and I mean, what can you say? I mean, many people wonder when's he going to stop, but I mean, he's enjoying this too much. I think it'd be too soon. I mean, it's going to happen eventually, but I think just not now, because who knows? Maybe this next team he'll have next year could have another run at a national championship. So we'll see what happens. But congratulations to Gino Auriemma and the rest of the UConn Lady Huskies on another national championship. I mean, they just absolutely dominated that title game. I mean, not only another Paige Becker's tight game, but you had other players step up, and the defense just literally smothered that Gamecocks offense. So, but then when you come to the men's national championship, that to me was a 5-star classic game, and and Florida wins their third national championship. And yeah, I mean, there were some who had them as winning it all, but there were a lot of others. Of course, had Duke winning it, but what can you say? I mean, congratulations to the Florida Gators on their third title since, of course, when they won back-to-back titles. So there's really nothing more for me to say.
All right. So with that being said, gentlemen, let us now get into. We're now going to get into week number 3 of the UFL season. So we're going to do a quick recap of what has happened. Well, so let's take a look at the scoreboard for what has happened. Of course, we our last show was a couple of weeks ago, and in the first game of the new season, the St. Louis Battlehawks absolutely smashed the Houston Roughnecks 31-6, and then the Arlington Renegades, they smashed the the San Antonio Brahmas 33-9. The Michigan Panthers over the Memphis Showboats 26-12, and in an early season shocker, the DC Defenders upset MF's Birmingham Stallions 18-11. So that's what happened in week number 1. Last week, MF's Birmingham Stallions got back on track with a big win against the Michigan Panthers at Ford Field, 21-12. DC Defenders over the Memphis Showboats, 17-12. How about this for a final score? The Arlington Renegades defeating the Houston Roughnecks 11-9. Wow, okay. And then the St. Louis Battlehawks all over the San Antonio Brahmas 26-9. So as of right now, we have 2 undefeated teams. They are the Arlington Renegades and, 3 undefeated teams. The Arlington Renegades, the DC Defenders, and the St. Louis Battlehawks all are 2-0. You have the Birmingham Stallions and the Michigan Panthers both at 1-1. And you have the Houston Roughnecks, Memphis Showboats, and the San Antonio Brahmas currently sitting at 0-2. So that's the story there. And all right, so let's get into week number 3 of the UFL season. It kicks off tomorrow night at 8 p.m. over on Fox. And it will feature, and I could consider this easily the number 2 game of the week right here. The Arlington Renegades squaring off against the Birmingham Stallions. And this is going to be the home opener for the Birmingham Stallions. And this game will be at the Protective Stadium in Birmingham, Alabama. This game's on Fox. I mean, I would imagine it's got to be their lead commentary team of Kurt Menefee and Joel Klatt. I believe they will be working this game for Fox tomorrow night. And Birmingham opening up as a 4.5-point favorite with an over-under of 39.5. So with all that being said, let's dive right on in to week number 3 here. So we started off with the Arlington squaring off against Birmingham, and let's dive right on into it. So here we go. So the Arlington Renegades off to a strong 2-0 start, powered by veteran quarterback Luis Perez, who leads the league with 375 passing yards. Offensively, the Renegades have been dominant, recording 100 more yards than their opponents in each game. On the defensive side, they've been just as impressive, holding opponents 9 points to 9 points in both meetings. The defending champion Birmingham Stallions are 1-1 after a shaky start to the season. Last week, the Stallions bounced back with a strong defensive performance, allowing Michigan just 2 red zone opportunities. There is a bit of bad news. Starting quarterback Alex Magoo went down on the first play, but that could be a benefit in disguise after he struggled in week 1. He only threw for 89 yards. And with the Renegades only scrapping up 11 points last week and the Stallions treading in a better direction, I am going to go with the Birmingham Stallions to win this game here. So I don't have a score for it, but I am going to go with Birmingham to win. I mean, I think they found their mojo last week, and when this team finds their mojo, when they get their mojo going, oh, they are tough to beat. So give me the Birmingham Stallions to defeat the Arlington Renegades tomorrow night. So not much more to say. MF, your boys were humbled. You guys got humbled a couple of weeks ago, but last week in a must-win game, you went into Ford Field in Detroit and took care of Michigan. Now it's your home opener against a very good Arlington Renegade team, but I think your team's got their mojo back, and I would not be surprised if they win this game tomorrow night.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that first game kind of shocked everybody. That kind of put the shock in the system, like, whoa, wait a minute, what? And I think we kind of were like, all right, you know what? This is a new season. Let's not goof around now. Let's handle our business and do what we need to do. And I think that's exactly what is gonna happen. So Birmingham should win this game. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Birmingham Stallions to win this one as well. So nothing more to say. Let's move on to the next game.
The next game will be on Saturday afternoon at 2:30 on ESPN and ESPN Plus. You can most certainly consider this the Zonk game of the week. It's a battle of winless teams. Somebody's going to get a win here, their first one. The Houston Roughnecks squaring off against the Memphis Showboats. Both teams are at 0-2. Memphis also opening up as a 4.5-point favorite. Over/under at 35.5. MF, we got Houston and Memphis at the Liberty Bowl. So who gets the first win?
I think it's going to be Memphis. Houston kind of got caught off the guard after their head coach kind of quit right before the start of the season, and they never really recovered. I think Memphis will bounce. Kind of has their mojo. I kind of feel like they got unlucky a couple of games where a couple of possessions could have gone their way. It blew up in their face. Unfortunately, they didn't get a win then. But I think they're going to get the win now. So give me the Memphis Showboats to win. They'll get their first win of the season. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Memphis to win this as well. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, I think MF is spot. I think MF has this one right. I'm gonna go with them as well. Two of the league's remaining 3 winless teams square off Saturday afternoon. The Houston Roughnecks have been a mess across the board, ranking dead last in scoring at 7.5 points a game, passing yards 102.5 yards a game, 78.5 rushing yards a game. Defensively, they are also giving up the second most points in the league at about 19.5 a game. The Memphis Showboats also have a deserted win column, but at least have been more productive offensively, ranking 4th in total offense at 277.5 yards a game, but they have yet to score more than 2 touchdowns in a game, and Houston still has not cracked double digits. Memphis should get the win here thanks to at least one element to its game figured out, so I am going to go with Memphis to win this one as well. So let's go on to the Sunday portion of the schedule. An afternoon doubleheader on Sunday, starting at 12 noon on ABC and ESPN Plus. The San Antonio Brahmas. This is the number 3 game here. San Antonio Brahmas squaring off against the Michigan Panthers, Ford Field in Detroit. Michigan opening up as a 6.5-point favorite, over/under at 36.5. So, Michael Bullock, who do you have here between? I'm so sorry. San Antonio and Michigan. Who do you got?
Yeah, I gotta go with Michigan here. I think they're going to be able to take care their business with San Antonio. So give me Michigan to win it. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta admit, I am a San Antonio Brahmas fan because of the fact that my old friend from the Buffalo Bills, Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips, of course, is the head coach of this team, and that's why I have become a fan of that team. But I have not liked what I have seen over the first 2 weeks. Absolutely atrocious, and I would not at all be surprised if Michigan takes. I wouldn't be surprised if San Antonio gets smashed again. I certainly would not. And I mean, oof, just absolutely hoofa. That's all I am going to say on that. So I'm not even going to bother. I'm just gonna go with Michigan to win. So give me Michigan. So MF, your thoughts? San Antonio and Michigan.
Agreed. I think Michigan's going to win the game. Anthony, it's yours. Final game on the UFL week.
And it's the game of the week, the big one, the game of the week. 3:00 on ABC and ESPN Plus. The Battle of the Unbeatens, as it will feature the DC Defenders squaring off against the St. Louis Battlehawks from the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis opening up as a 6.5-point favorite with the over-under set at 38.5. Yeah, there's I'll tell you what. Unlike the winless teams, the Defenders and Battlehawks are protecting their perfect records. Where DC is strong offensively, averaging 277.5 total yards a game and 17.5 points. But St. Louis is just a tad better, recording 388.5 yards a game while posting 28.5 points a game. Not to mention they're the better defense on paper also by allowing 7.5 points a game and less than 200 yards. Mix in the home field advantage and that rowdy fan base in St. Louis, and there is no reason not to take St. Louis here. So I am going to go with the St. Louis Battlehawks to win this game. So MF, your thoughts? DC and St. Louis, the game of the week in the UFL week 3.
Oh, this is going to be a fun one, man. DC looked good. I got to see DC up close in week number 1. They actually played really good. But the Battlehawks, man, they're tested, man. I don't know. This is, like you said, this is the toughest game of the week. I'm gonna say St. Louis. I think they're gonna pull it. I think they're gonna remain undefeated and they're gonna win it. So I got nothing more to say. Michael Bullock is yours.
What game are we talking about?
The DC Defenders. Defenders and the St. Louis Battlehawks from the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis.
And who's the favorite?
St. Louis, 6.5-point favorite over.
Yeah, I gotta go with St. Louis to win this one. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to add on to it. So, I don't know if we got anything else.
Yes, we
Florio?
do. Yep. We do.
Go ahead.
Well, as a matter of fact, MF has something else because now I am going to go ahead and turn the mic over to good old MF Michael Fletcher because he's got some very exciting news regarding the upcoming Big 3 basketball season. So, and he is, which is fitting because he is the voice of the Big 3 as well. So, MF, it's all yours.
All right, guys. You know what? The boys are back for a whole new summer. But, guys, the game is changing as we know it. Ice Cube has been cooking up. And just like Triple H, he's about to give you banger after banger after banger. And guys, it all starts tomorrow. Tickets go on sale for the Big 3 summer. Season number 9. We're doing it. And we're doing it in grand style. The North American Tour starts off on June 14th from the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. Then, June 22nd, we're going to be at the CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. June 29th, we're going to be at the Keswick Arena or the Keswick Center in Miami, Florida. Then there's going to be a bye week. July 13th, they're coming home. TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts, where the Big Three final was 1 year ago. They're back in Beantown on June 13th. June 20th, it will be at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. June 26th, there's not a site announced yet, but relax. There will be one as of yet. We don't know yet when it's going to be, but that's when it's going to happen. August 2nd, we're going to the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. August 9th, on Anthony's birthday, we'll be at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California, a.k.a. Los Angeles. August 17th, we'll be in Dallas at the American Airlines Arena. And August 24th, which will be the end of the regular season, this will be on a location that will be announced. So we don't know much about those just yet. May 15th will be the Combine that will be held in Las Vegas, Nevada. The draft will be that night. May 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time from the Hesquin in Las Vegas, Nevada will be the Big Three draft. Now, the big announcement that will be happening. There will be teams that will be allocated to select cities. Through the Big Three, 4 owners have stepped forward and it's bringing founding teams or founding expansion teams to the Big Three. Now, each of these people has bought $10 million stakes to certain teams. I can confirm now, here tonight, that one team has been designated as the home team for Los Angeles, California, and they will be called the LA Riot. They will be led by Swaggy P. He will be the head coach of the team, and I'm pleased to announce tonight, this was just confirmed a short while ago, that yes, the LA Riot is the name of the team, and that their team captain will be none other than NBA champion and now one of the newest members of the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, Dwight Howard is in the Big Three. He's joining the league, and he's going to be a part of this team. He will be head coached by Nick Young, and he will have Jamal Crawford and Elijah Stewart as co-captains of this squad. Their home game, their home debut, their home game will be at the Intuit Dome on August 9th. They will be a part of that show, and that will be their designated home team. Now, as it relates to Boston, I got big news for you as well, Boston. Not only do you get the Big Three, not only do you get your squad, not only do you get the right or the honor to be a part of the Big Three, knowing that you're going to be a team, but now you have a team to land. One of the original squads is now yours. Ladies and gentlemen, with the blessing and the payment that was made by former NBA world champion of the Boston Celtics and current announcer for the NBC Sports in Boston, Brian Scalabrine, the Boston Bullhogs are now yours. So embrace it, Boston. The Bullhogs is now a part of the Boston sports family. They now join
I think we all know who Bullock's going to be rooting for next year.
Oh, yeah. They now join the Boston Red Sox, the New England Revolution, the Boston Celtics, the Boston Bruins, and the New England Patriots. Rally around this team, guys, because this is yours. This is your family. Not only that, but in the upcoming weeks, we will also have teams from Chicago, Baltimore, Miami, Detroit, and Dallas will all have their own Big Three squads. Now, there are other spots that has not been announced yet, and we do not know the location of where the final will be held as of right now.
I see some other team names here, MF. I don't know where this came from, but you do have you mentioned the Boston Ball Hogs, the LA Riot, and the and who else did you mention?
I only have Chicago. I only have just the cities. I don't have the names. Unless you can help.
I actually do have something here.
All right, can you send me?
Yeah, I'll copy and paste it in the chat, and you can because they actually announced the season 8 schedule 8 days ago, and I came across something through AI generations. So I'm just going to send this over to you.
Because I need to see this and then I can verify it. Yeah.
And you can relay it. Let me just put it in our chat here.
Oh, this is actually new. Okay. All right. So this is actually okay. Now, this is interesting because I did not see any of this. All right. So it's called the Chicago Triplets, the Dallas Power. This is actually a new team. I've never seen this one before. The Detroit Amplifiers. So that's actually new. I've never seen that team before. The DMV Trilogy. That I think that has to be the Baltimore. So that might be the Baltimore squad. The Houston Rig Hands. That's new. Never heard that. LA Riot, I knew. And the Miami 305. So, again, this is actually brand new. So, Anthony just gave me some new information. I do know about the Boston Ball Hogs. I knew that. And I knew about the LA Riot. I did not know about these other teams. But if you notice, look, okay, so the original teams from the Big Three, I can confirm, were the Triplets, Power, the Trilogy, and Ball Hogs. Those are your original teams. What I've heard is that the Enemies is now the Riot. So that's the one team that I knew. So the Enemies are now the Riot. So I know that. The other teams that I need to see, so that means Bivouac. Let me try to pull this up. So that means Bivouac got merged with a team. Don't know who they got merged with yet. So this is going to be very interesting to watch because now you got Bivouac, Three's Company, Tri-State, Ghost Ballers, Aliens, Killer Threes, Three-Headed Monsters. So a lot of these teams are going to get merged. So we don't know who got merged where, but I know the Enemies did get merged with the Riot. So we know those players were formerly from the Enemies. Now they're the LA Riot. Boston Ball Hogs, self-explanatory. We already know. Triplets, self-explanatory. Power, self-explanatory. I want to know about these final four teams. Amplifiers, Rig Hands, Miami 305, and the Riot. And those are the three teams I need to know. Who are their coaches? Where are they representing? So that is very, very, very exciting to hear, guys, because now, like I said, everything is changing. We got 8 teams now going in. And there might be more because there's still 3 locations that have not been announced yet. So that means we could add more teams into this party that we don't know just yet. So obviously, exciting times for the big 3. Like I said, Anthony, I think I'm gonna have to wait till May 17th. Once we get that day, I think we're gonna get a lot more news coming out because, like I said, Ice Cube and the boys are cooking. They're cooking something special. But I will say this: starting tomorrow, you can purchase your tickets for the Big 3 basketball season. All the tickets will be available tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. And like I said, just to let you guys know one last time, most of the games will be on CBS, the mothership. We will be doing the games during the regular season. And then the secondary games will be streamed on the internet, either through YouTube, Twitch TV. They're actually doing Nick Marks, Summit 1G, and other content creators. They will be getting involved and they will be streaming it through the Creator Sports Network. And that will be a groundbreaking event because that means those games will be seen by more than 2 million people throughout the upcoming weeks. Now, this is to get through that 18 to 34, and the games will be starting in week 6 in Portland. That's when it'll be available through all the different content creators, either through YouTube, Twitch, Kick, whatever the streaming sites will be. These are the games that will be starting, and this will go all the way to the end of the season. So, like I said, Anthony, exciting times. Most of the games will be on CBS. They will be responsible for all of the regular season games. And obviously, the championship game will be on CBS on the mothership. As far as going beyond that, like the secondary games, because they like to do a 2 or 3 hour block. After those blocks, then there's still many games to go after that initial game. We don't know what they're going to do with that one. We just need to wait and see how it plays out. But I will say one thing for sure: we're going to be all over this during the summer months. We will have Big 3 here on this channel like we've always had. This year I might try to go to the games. And Anthony and Michael Bullock, if you're down for it, I would like to go with you guys to the Big 3 in Boston. Make a day out of it. And just to let you guys know that should happen on June 13th. Sunday, July 13th is the day at the TD Garden is when the Big 3 comes to Boston. I want to do it. I hope you guys are up for it. I hope you guys are down for that. But, dude, I would like to bring you guys to the Big 3. I did it a few years ago when they came to Providence. Dude, it was a blast. It was an absolute great time. I hope we can do it. That's just something in the bucket list. Why not? Let's try to do it. All right. So Big 3 is back. Can't wait to make more announcements. If I get more announcements down the line, I'll have it right here on this show. So Anthony, it's yours.
All right. Very exciting indeed. And yeah, we'll definitely talk about that behind the scenes in just a little bit. So that definitely would be something interesting. So we got a few months to think about it. So all right. So with that being said, that will put the bow on this abbreviated edition of TXN Sports World. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We'll be back with you again tomorrow night at 11 over on MF's channel, Raceway 95, immediately following SmackDown. We got the Cerebral Smack Talk. We got TNA Impact. And we have Friday night SmackDown that we're going to address tomorrow night. And then starting Tuesday, we kick off one of our busiest weeks of the year when it comes to our coverage of shows, WrestleMania week. Yes, sir, WrestleMania week. And here it is. Here's the rundown in case you missed it. This past Tuesday night on Ridiculously Raw. Hopefully I got this right. So there's one thing that does need to be addressed when it comes to Ridiculously Raw on Tuesday night. That I forgot to mention on the show the other night. Tuesday night, we kick it all off with Ridiculously Raw at 10:30 here on the Tone 25. And we will have Monday Night Raw, their go-home show for WrestleMania, NXT's go-home show for Stand and Deliver, and MF and I are going to preview a special event that is going to take place on the TNA Plus app on next Thursday night, April 17th. It's called Unbreakable, and it will be in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we are going to run down that card on Tuesday night. That'll be on Tuesday. 1 week from tonight, we will not have TXN Sports World. We are going to replace that with a very special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN. And on that show, we are going to preview next Thursday night. We're going to preview NXT Stand and Deliver and WrestleMania 41. That'll be at this time next week. And then next Friday night.
And just to let you guys know, I'm sorry to interrupt, but just to let you guys know, because this was supposed to be Anthony's night, Anthony Florio will be hosting that show. So this will be your show because of the fact that I feel bad that we had to take the sports show from you for this night. So we're gonna let you have this one. So this is yours.
No, it's more than fine, and I appreciate the honor, and I look forward to addressing all that next week. And the sports show will be back the following week, April 24th, and on that show we are going to be previewing the Stanley Cup and NBA playoffs. So we'll preview the first round matchups in both leagues. And time permitting, we'll also do some UFL stuff on that show. That'll be in 2 weeks. But no sports show next week. Besides, this has always been a tradition anyway. This is a tradition going back to the old banner, years and years ago. So we definitely should keep that tradition alive. So that'll be next Thursday night, special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN, where the three of us will preview NXT Stand and Deliver and WrestleMania 41. And then the Friday night, the 18th, immediately following SmackDown, MF and I, we will have a recap of the TNA Unbreakable from Las Vegas, and then we will run down the WrestleMania edition of SmackDown. And I'm hopeful that we'll have that show done within 2 hours because the Hall of Fame ceremony will be airing that night at 1 a.m. Eastern. So this actually does kind of work out. So
I think we should be able to get it done within 2 hours. I think we can get it.
I think so too. So that'll be on Friday the 18th. TNA Unbreakable recap with me and MF, and then we all will get into the WrestleMania go home show for SmackDown. And then Saturday, April 19th, we will recap NXT Stand and Deliver and night 1 of WrestleMania. And then the following night, April 20th, we will have the night 2. We will recap night 2 of WrestleMania. So very busy indeed. We wouldn't have it any other way. We look forward to bringing it all to you. And that is that. So that's it for this. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for Michael Bullock, and of course, always and forever in spirit, our First Lady, the one and only Dee Dee Woodson. And of course, once again, you know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday, and until tomorrow night, for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you have been watching TXN Sports World right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and Streamyard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.